On the eve of the year 2076, the game became a reality overnight. A giant crack suddenly appeared in space. Monster hordes and dangerous dungeons have become part of the human world. Powerful beings were ruthlessly exterminating humans. During these times, humanity was literally on the verge of extinction. Suddenly, along with the destruction of civilization, God-gifted talents appeared. People began to awaken their power and call themselves hunters to wrest their homeland from the clutches of monsters. Since then, order has reigned in the world. The strong were honored, and survival became above the law. Therefore, hunters had to constantly improve themselves and strengthen their positions. In pursuit of power and wealth, hunters went down into the dungeons to kill bosses, get treasure, and raise their level. That's when the age of the hunters began. The story originates from the Hunter's Square. Sujan had a chance to get a rare profession, but he never thought he would end up as an ordinary warrior. In the early stages, warriors have difficulty in melee combat, and so most players of this class died in the beginning. Even after putting in tremendous effort and spending a lot of time to improve, the warrior is still not destined to equal the other professions. In this world, warrior is the most primitive and common craft. And while the frustrated Sujan was slowly going about his business, the purple-haired man and his gang came up behind him and started to reproach the guy for waking up as a shit warrior. A fitting case for such scum, wasn't it? The bully hugged the irritated boy in a friendly manner and noted that the newly minted warrior seemed to be a little stronger than a normal person. Sujan, an orphan with no money and no mentor, no guild would take him. His calling is simply to do the black work to suit himself. Where did so many flies come from? Suyan indifferently muttered, suddenly clapping his hands. Turning around, the guy finally spotted his dear classmate, Wang Fei. It was said that this dude had awakened as a rare ice mage. Well, that deserved praise, except that mages are quite weak physically. With a disdainful finger pointing at his classmate, Suyan suggested that he check it out. Letting his cronies step forward, the irritated Wang Fei asked the dark-haired guy why the hell, being a warrior, he was being so cocky. Suddenly, one of the bullies called out to his boss after seeing something amazing. Also hearing this, Suyan perplexedly turned around. A raiding team from the Spirit Hunter Guild was coming up the stairs. This is the strongest guild in Eastern City. Just seeing them live here is already an incredible miracle. The fourth Storm Archer, who was also the deputy head of the guild, Zhao Ming, showed up. Walking upwards, he just pushes everyone in his way, saying how hungry he was. This person had already reached the 95th level. Suyan had only seen him on the advertisement accounts, so to see him with his own eyes today was something he definitely didn't expect. In turn, Wang Fei plucked up his courage and asked Zhao Ming if the guild was currently recruiting new recruits after apologizing. The guy himself had always admired spirit hunters, so he had always wanted to join them. The golden-haired demoness walking beside him answered him that the person in charge of the recruits was downstairs. The raiders themselves do not answer such questions. However, even though the girl told the boy to get out of the way, Zhao Ming decided to ask what Wang Fei's profession was after all. Then the purple-haired kid revealed that he had a rare gift specializing in control, and he had been given the profession of an ice mage. Without much thought, the deputy guild leader ordered his subordinate to give this kid a card. Watching all this, Sujan couldn't believe that the spirit hunters had so easily accepted this moron into their ranks. Of course, it wouldn't even make sense for a guy with his profession as a warrior to try the same trick. In addition, Wang Fei's cronies also immediately tried to get into this guild with their professions of thief and archer, but they were very quickly turned away. As it turned out, the spirit hunters were very bad towards thieves, and to be able to join them as an archer, one had to contact the management first. Moreover, Zhao Ming's subordinate was apparently very annoyed that she had to waste her time with these youngsters. Still, Suyan decided not to miss such a chance, and so he inquired about the warriors. With a disdainful look at him, the golden-haired demoness told the guy to just wait. The reaction was quite predictable. This is reality. The only thing that matters in this world is power. Usually the chosen profession determines a person's future potential. Sujan is a warrior. It is already known what will happen to him next. Even low-level guilds won't accept him. And that's not to mention the elite ones like the spirit hunters. Already resigned to his fate, Sujan heard an interesting conversation. Wang Foi's cronies sitting nearby began to discuss why the deputy head of the Spirit Hunters Guild was here. It was because the guild was planning to raid the Black Dragon's lair today. They would probably use the teleporter to get to the dungeon faster. What? The Black Dragon's lair? Black Dragon's lair is the largest S-level dungeon in Sea City. It has a darkness of small monsters and elite powerful creatures. Death in this world doesn't mean immediate demise, though. Instead, you lose levels and experience until your level drops to 0. This is deadly in competition between top guilds, especially given the risk of losing rare gear. The most terrifying boss of the dungeon was the 99th level Black Dragon, Athos. Even unrivaled level S guilds have fallen at his feet. The Spirit Hunters Guild is full of hunters with 4th and higher skills. They have never failed a raid before. Will they be able to do this? Black Dragon, hunters! Only the strongest survive in this world. Is Sujin destined to end his life in misery, trampled into the dirt? As soon as the guy thought about it, there was a system sound. A certain voice announced that the perfect soul carrier had been located. Incomplete System 8055 would soon be connected. While the boy was trying to figure out what that voice was, some strange things started happening to his body. Then, a window appeared in front of Suyan, saying that the incomplete boss system had been tied down. What does that mean? Is this a cheat? What the hell is an incomplete system? While pondering this, the guy saw a few more windows. In them, the system required the host to act as a boss to block other players from entering the dungeon. When players died, all of their gear and experience would go to the host. After explaining this, the system asked if the host wanted to activate the body. It's clear. The system wants Sujin to become the boss. Raiders usually form a team of at least 4 people and up to a maximum of 24. Although raids of up to 100 players are not excluded. After killing all of them, Sujin would gain a lot of experience. He will instantly reach the highest level. A good-for-nothing warrior will become incredibly strong. What happens if he gets killed? Meanwhile, the system interrupted the guy's musings by informing him that if the host didn't respond within the next 5 seconds, the offer would be withdrawn. In this case, the boy had little choice. Without risk, there is no victory. Sujin would rather die a boss than a lowly worm. And now he's been given a once-in-a-lifetime chance to find his power. Yes, let's start booting the incomplete system! As soon as the guy pressed the accept button, the system was activated, and the teleportation began along with the fusion with the body. The only thing Suyan wished for now was to get into the body of the strongest boss. Opening his eyes, the first thing the guy did was try to realize where he was now. The incomplete system did work. However, what a strange place the boy had been thrown into. There were only dragons. But why were they so small? Sujin had imagined them to be much larger. My noble king, have you awakened from your long sleep? An undead voice was suddenly heard. Of course, Suyang couldn't immediately tell if the creature was addressing him. Soon enough, though, it came to the guy's attention exactly what kind of boss the incomplete system had turned him into. Congratulations on your successful transformation. You are now the 99th level Black Flaming Wings Dragon boss in the Black Dragon Lair. Sujin had turned into the very same dragon of Athos that the Spirit Hunter Guild was soon to raid. Moreover, the skills of this boss are unthinkably strong. He has 5 million health, as well as the skills. Explosion, which deals damage of 300% of the power attribute. Dragon's Roar, which has the ability to stun enemies. And Dragon's Eye, which gives the ability to see through space within an area. A player with level 99 and rank 4 transformation can at most destroy 1 attribute. And the Black Dragon, in addition to the ability to destroy all attributes, has a terrifying power of 3,000 points. Double immunity of 80% to physical and magical damage, and a permanent 20% reduction in enemy attributes. All of this combined makes Athos invincible. In addition, Sujin has exclusive skills. Under such circumstances, no player ever opposes him. And to top it all off, the incredible power of his body. The guy had never felt such freedom in his life. He could now defeat players and appropriated their experience. In his previous life, Suyan never dreamed of such a rapid level increase. Roaring with joy, the dragon noticed something strange. All of his subordinates fell to their knees and began to beg the king in fear to temper his anger. Yes, it seems that Suyan accidentally used the dragon roar. Proudly raising his head, Athos ordered these useless creatures to rise. In Sujan's imagination, this was how a real boss should communicate with his subordinates. Bowing his head, the hooded undead noted that even in youth, his king possesses monstrous power. In the future, Athos would undoubtedly be the cause of the crushing of all mankind. It is only a matter of time. After listening to his subordinate, Suyan recalled that the dragon's age was indeed mentioned in the characteristics. It said that the black flame wings was only at the initial stage. But didn't bosses just possess a certain level? Did it really mean that the guy could become even stronger in the future? Looking around, Athos saw a suspended cage. "The evil dragon has awakened again," muttered the exhausted woman, looking at Athos. Looking at the dragon with hatred, the hostage demanded to be released. If she didn't, the dungeon boss would pay the entire elven race in full. After examining this girl from all angles, Sujin realized that she was an ordinary NPC. However, despite having appeared many times since the game came out, this was the first time the guy had seen a living elf. While the boy was pondering this, there was a concussion of space. The caged elf immediately realized what it meant. It's the players. Finally, a real hero would rescue her from the clutches of that hideous dragon. And as soon as the girl said that, she felt the stare of the dungeon boss on her. What the hell is wrong with him? Usually the dragon ignored her insults, but today he wasn't himself, so why? The Spirit Hunters Guild had gotten here too quickly. Suyan didn't even have time to study his skills properly. Besides, the Spirit Hunter Guild's strategies had never failed. What if they were able to defeat the dungeon boss this time? The Black Dragon is undoubtedly strong, but this guild isn't shabby either. They must have prepared thoroughly for the raid. In this case, Sujin has to be careful. The guy decided to start by using his dragon eye and checking the area for enemies. In the distance, he saw the leading team of the Spirit Hunter Guild. The commanders were Li Dan, a 98-level Sacred Shield Master, Qian Yuan, a 96-level Paladin Healer, and Zhao Ming, a 95-level Storm Archer. And the last commander-in-chief was Lei Shan, a 99th-level Master Destroyer. Each of them is at the 4th rank of transformation. Today, they want to infiltrate the Black Dragon's lair and gain victory. This will give each member of the squad the opportunity to make a full transformation. After realizing that these people appeared to be very confident, Suyan decided to first sick the 8-level 80 Flying Wolves with the Wind attribute on them. But the Spirit Hunters Guild wasn't going to waste time on low-level monsters. Now it was up to the tanks to take them down, and the rest of the squad members will increase their comrades on the front lines with the Fire attribute payoff. Holding formation, the squad easily broke through the first line of defense and continued onward. The Spirit Hunter Guild was not to be confused with anyone else. Whether it was firepower, whether it was discipline, they stuck to a strictly set plan. And they wouldn't fight with level 80 monsters at full strength. Turning around on his subordinates, Suyan thought of something. Since the dungeon has been invaded by a team of pros, making it difficult for them from the start could play into Athos's hands. At the same time, one of the squad members saw something horrible and became dumbfounded. Suddenly, behind the commander-in-chief, a huge monster with characteristics comparable to an average dungeon boss fell directly from the sky. What's going on? Where did a level 99 elite monster come from? While the guild members were trying to figure out how this could happen, the dragon warrior teleported to the rear of the team, attacking the caster. It seemed to be the end. Nothing could stop this monster. However, at the last moment, Li Dan appeared out of nowhere, deploying a protective dome of divine light, thus shielding the archers and mages standing behind him. Activating the thunder arrows, Storm Archer Zhao Ming ordered the archers and mages to retreat and the melee fighters to the front lines. Watching his subordinate with the dragon eye, Suyan saw his warrior take on another powerful attack. The Spirit Hunters Guild had really prepared well. The dragon warrior wouldn't be able to stand against them alone. Laughing, the caged elfess remarked that it was foolish of Athos to send his subordinate to his death. He was a stinking, useless dragon. Not taking the hostage's words seriously, Suyan decided to try something else. If one warrior wasn't enough, then let there be a few more. That's it. Now there are as many as 7 dragon warriors on the battlefield. Seeing all these elite monsters in front of them, the guild members began to panic. In turn, the experienced Zhao Ming reported to the commander-in-chief that the guild had never encountered something like this before. What was the plan of action now? These elite monsters are nothing! We are a spirit hunter guild, and our specialization is elite! Let's only move forward, Lei Shan shouted confidently, instantly raising the team's morale. Reorganizing, the squad began to fight back against the enemy, perfectly coordinating healers, tanks, and damagers. Suyin was surprised at how tenacious these people were. He thought that the elite monsters would scare them away, but these players continued to stand until the end. However, their level shouldn't be enough to defeat the Black Flamewings dragon itself, right? And while Suyin was wondering if his opponents still had any aces left up their sleeves, the guy noticed something strange. Wait a minute, why didn't they continue walking deeper into the dungeon after defeating all the elite monsters? Where are they going? Is there a secret room somewhere? Using the dragon's eye again, Suyin saw the tomb. It turned out to be the tomb of a dragon slayer. The thing is that in this place, you can get a special item that allows the owner to ignore the talents of dragons. The earth began to shake, and the warriors, who bowed their heads before the king, could not understand what had angered their lord so much. Of course, it's a strategy game, so in order to defeat the invincible dragon, you need to weaken his abilities. In that case, the enemies will be able to ignore Sujan's talents. If nothing is done, they will have a chance. Realizing this, the dungeon boss flapped his wings. Grabbing the cage, the Elphus looked fearfully at the dragon. He hadn't cared before, but was he really going to leave the lair? Looking at their majestic patron, all the dungeon monsters began to cheer and praise the king. Lord Athos is going to confront the enemy in person. The Spirit Hunters Guild already knows about the item, and that's why Sujin can't let them get him. Heading to the Dragon Slayer's tomb, Lei Shan noted how many surprises this dungeon had thrown at them from the start. Trouble began almost as soon as the squad entered the lair. Weaving behind him, Zhao Ming reported that the consumption of materials and weapons exceeded the allocated supplies. The archer then asked if the information about the dungeon that the guild had bought from the Celestial Pavilion was that reliable. Showing his comrade the book describing the dungeon, Lei Shan replied that there could be no mistake. The Heavenly Pavilion was well established. On top of that, the Commander-in-Chief had given the Universe Ring for this guidebook. It was a fair price, and so they definitely hadn't been cheated. At that time, Paladin healer Qian Yuan reminded that the squad was now not far from the Black Dragon's lair. So the main question was, could the boss prevent the Dragon Slayer's heart from being taken away? Fortunately, this was also mentioned in the guidebook. The Black Dragon is a boss with impressive strength, but not intelligence. As long as a troop doesn't touch his lair, he doesn't touch them. The dragon is only a stepping stone for the Guild of Spirit Hunters. Today, they have come here to repay this black rogue for all their suffering and losses. The Paladin healer liked the Commander-in-Chief's attitude. In that case, if Lei Shan is so eager to deal with this dragon, then let him take it upon himself. For his part, Qian Yuan had long had his eye on that caged elfess. If the man frees her, then that girl will be forced to obey all his commands. Anyway, it's obvious where this pervert is going. Meanwhile, the sounds of someone's wings were heard. Hearing this, Qian Yuan warned the head that the monsters were already approaching. Opening the guidebook, Lei Shan was surprised that they had come across a flying monster. The thing is, the squad had only encountered small dragons with wings before. But it was the flying dragons that should be guarding the boss's chambers. Why are they here? At this time, while the Commander-in-Chief was pensively reading the guidebook, a dumbfounded Zhao Ming shouted that it was an unusual flying dragon. The size of the enemy surpasses anyone the guild has faced before. Is it really the boss of the Black Flame Wings? Seeing the huge dragon blocking the tomb, the shocked Lei Shan couldn't believe that this monster had flown here. Where did it come from? So those bastards from the Celestial Pavilion just cheated the guild by selling a fake guidebook? What will the squad do now? They can't fight without the heart of a dragon slayer. Looking fearfully at the dungeon boss, Qian Yuan asked the head to hurry up and give the order. With a smirk, Suyin realized that his assumptions were correct. They would simply be afraid to enter the battle without this item. Yeah, the guy certainly didn't think that he would ever catch the Spirit Hunter Guild off guard like this. The better, it will be easier for the boy to raise the level, and he will do it by applying only one skill. However, just as the Black Flamewings dragon was about to end this fight, a bolt of lightning flew out from nowhere. This strange attack only took down 3,000 health points from the dungeon boss, leaving him bewildered. No one escapes! Everyone return to their positions, the Commander-in-Chief said confidently, reminding his subordinates that they were members of the strongest guild. This dragon is just a beast, and they are the hunters. Kill the black dragon! You'll get anything you want. Money, equipment, women, anything! Such a bellicose speech encouraged all the members of the squad. They immediately returned the formation and prepared for battle. Well, these little people were encouraged by the sweet talk. All right, let them try to attack the world's most powerful boss, the Black Dragon Athos. First of all, Lei Shan ordered the Sacred Shield Master to immediately activate the protective barrier and apply hatred. The healers led by Qian Yuan were told to send all their mana to protect Li Dan, and the support team needed to direct all single-target reinforcements to the squad leader and Zhao Ming. According to the map, the guild is now near the tomb of the Dragon Slayer. Accordingly, their main task is to break through there, losing as few people as possible. But while the team leaders were discussing the plan, the dungeon boss attacked them with his tail. The power of this blow shattered the nearby rock floor and killed several people from the guild squad. And Lord Athos has no plans to give his opponents a break. Suddenly, high up in the clouds, an unknown light appeared. Storm Archer Zhao Ming attacked the Black Dragon with one of his strongest skills. Yes, the squad had suffered casualties from the enemy's first strike, but Li Dan had blocked most of the damage with his triple Holy Shield. Now that the first wave of the enemy's attack was over, the Spirit Hunters Guild had a good chance to counterattack. Healers began to heal the wounds of all those who had suffered the first blow, while aides directed all amplifiers at the Commander-in-Chief and the Storm Archer. This was the strength of an A-level plus guild. Although they were ambushed, they almost immediately launched a counterattack. Suyin can't attack again, since he no longer has time to do so. So, in this situation, the guy decided to concentrate on defense. In the next second, Lei Shan commanded, "Salvo!" Together with Zhao Ming, they directed their most destructive spells at the Black Dragon. There was an explosion, raising a huge mushroom of flame in an instant. Beginning to gaze at the enemy hidden behind a cloud of ash, the Commander-in-Chief ordered his subordinates to prepare for a second wave of attack. But what Lei Shan saw next shocked him. The Commander-in-Chief and the Storm Archer only dealt 10,000 damage to the enemy with their strongest skills. This meant that their equipment was not strong enough to break through the Black Dragon's defense. Opening the guidebook, Lei Shan told his subordinates that everything was under control. They just needed to keep attacking, because until the dragon's health dropped by a quarter, it wouldn't use skills. However, the attacks of the ordinary guild members were nothing to Lord Athos. He felt as if he was being attacked by a swarm of mosquitoes. Despite this, people didn't lose heart and kept fighting. So much faith in them. Even so, they are finished. After all, the Black Dragon's job is to eradicate human faith. The dungeon boss roared deafeningly and soared into the air. In the next second, he burned all the members of the Spirit Hunter Guild with hot flames. Game over. Lord Athos easily dealt with even an A-level guild. Kneeling down, Lei Shan had no way of understanding why the dragon's skills had recovered just now. Anyway, it doesn't matter anymore. The boss had definitely used up all his skills now. This is a great chance for the squad to attack him, and so the Commander-in-Chief looked back, ordering his subordinates to stand up and fight. But as he turned his head back, he saw the Black Dragon's muzzle in front of him. "Son of a bitch! Why are you moving? You've used up your skills!" Lei Shan shouted hysterically, unable to understand anything at all. The man was not to know the answer, for Lord Athos had already opened his jaws, preparing to finish him off. With his flaming breath, Suyin finally incinerated all the members of the Spirit Hunter Guild squad. "Damn, Black Dragon, I'm not done with you yet!" the Commander-in-Chief shouted in a final rage. A system sound is heard. The intruders have been eliminated and experience transfer processing has begun. Seeing the amount of experience points he gained at a time, Suyan couldn't believe that this was really happening to him. The uplift alerts literally started bursting with updates. In the end, the guy gained 999,000 experience and raised his human shell level from the 1st to the 20th, reaching the maximum level before the first transformation. Of course, he lost 40% of his experience due to overconsumption and ended up gaining only 430,000 points. But that didn't matter. Looking at the recent battlefield, Suyan saw a lot of equipment falling out of the corpses. The guild he was fighting with was of a very high level, and thus the power of these items was hard to even imagine. Obviously, these items just dumbfounded the guy. 3 diamond weapons and many platinum level items. He got the Storm's Calling Bow, the Elven Wind accessory, the Celestial Stream boots, the Ashes of Ritual staff, and the fiery 2-handed sword. And that was only a fraction of all the things the boy ended up taking. The storm-summoning bow seems to have been wielded by Zhao Ming. He's probably tearing up right now. Unfortunately, as a warrior, Su Yung wouldn't be able to use this weapon, but he could auction it off and make billions. On top of all that, the guy got basic dexterity potions, medium strength potions, skill scrolls, flame baptism, stone barrier, and so on. And it's not over yet. Broken Boundless Gem is a special item that, when embedded in gear, can remove the level limitation. Simply put, this item will allow a level 1 rookie with platinum gear to easily take down a level 61 player. Suyin decided to use the gemstone on a platinum-ranked fiery two-handed sword. With this blade, he could easily slay anyone. While the boy was sorting out his loot, a new message came from the system. The current dual tasking time is coming to an end. The session will automatically end in 5 minutes, or the owner can make an immediate return on his own. Deciding that there was no point in him staying here any longer, Suyin pressed the return button. The process of moving the soul between bodies has begun. When the return was complete, the guy noticed that he had teleported home. The boy thought that he would return to that square after traveling, but the system surprised him. Be that as it may, Suyin was now a level 20 warrior. First of all, he decided to give 100 points for strength and the same amount for soul. The boy also used the scrolls he had recently received. At the same moment, Suyin felt a surge of strength. The difference between his first level and the current 20th level was simply enormous, but after finishing applying the scrolls, the guy noticed that he had accidentally trashed his entire room. Looking at his watch, he realized it was too late to go anywhere. Sujan will rest today and tomorrow he'll do the quest. Meanwhile, in the main building of the Spirit Hunters Guild, the joyful guild members were already preparing to greet their heroes and congratulate them on conquering the secret lair of the Black Dragon. However, when the leader returned, the golden-haired demoness noticed that his level had dropped. The entire squad had died, and Lei Shan had fallen to the 90th level. But how come? I mean, they had used the instructions from the Heavenly Pavilion. The commander-in-chief had even given up the Ring of the Universe for the sake of their strategy. Zhao Ming had also dropped to the 86th level, and on top of that, he had lost his diamond bow. Paladin healer Qian Yuan blew his diamond boots and a chance to have fun with that elf girl. With an irritated clenched fist, Lei Shan said that he would shake the crap out of those bastards. A respected S-level pavilion dared to sell cheap strategies to the Spirit Hunters Guild. And he won't rest until he gets answers. The next day, Nanshan Children's Home. A big truck arrived with many different boxes. An old man in a blue cap approached one of the loaders and asked if the driver had the wrong address. But there was no mistake. A man named Sujin paid for the delivery and gave this very address. At that moment, while the old man was talking to the loader, a stack of boxes wobbled, past which the girl was just running. Then the frightened child stopped and saw heavy wooden boxes falling on her. Suddenly, someone reached out to the girl. "Long time no see, Tao," Sujan muttered, epically grabbing the boxes. When they saw Sujan's brother, all the boys from the orphanage ran to him joyfully. The old man in the blue cap also approached the guy and noticed how he had grown up. Then he asked if Sujan had started a business, since he had started making such expensive gifts to the orphanage. Scratching the back of his head awkwardly, the boy replied that he had just managed to earn a little money. Generally, selling weapons and items brought in quite a good profit. Suyan even had as much as 60 million left on his card. Next, the old man asked the boy if he was thinking of joining the Spirit Hunters Guild. There were rumors that they had recently encountered some fierce monsters, so the boy should be careful. Of course, Suyan had heard about it. Moreover, he knew that fierce monster. The old man once again asked the guy to be careful, not to lose his level and experience. Suyin, in turn, asked his grandfather not to worry, saying that he was not afraid of any monsters. Besides, the boy was going to make a move today, so he should be on his way. With his last words, the boy left his grandfather puzzled. What's he talking about? What kind of displacement? Did he wake up? On the way to the temple, Suyin heard people discussing the recent defeat of the Spirit Hunter Guild. They were destroyed by the Black Dragon. Moreover, there were rumors that the Heavenly Pavilion branch wasn't as reliable as everyone thought. An inspection has already been sent to them. Now it was clear to Suyong why the Spirit Hunter Guild was so confident in their victory. They had bought the strategy from the Celestial Pavilion. Pavilion are the best raid organizations in the world. This is the reason why they are receiving such close attention. The next black dragon will face them already. So Suyan is already anticipating how much cool stuff he can get from them. And while the guy was thinking about it, Wang Fei called out to him from behind. The bully began to mock the boy, saying that he must be wandering around looking for a guild. Probably he's asking for everybody and they won't take him. In any case, Wang Fei was very happy that today he would finally get a chance to teach this brat a lesson. Yesterday, the guild saved this kid, but now Fei is also a member of the organization and has cool skills. And now he's going to punish him. However, while the bully was showing off, a fist flew into his face. "You had something on your face," Sujan spoke kindly. Wang Fei landed headfirst on the ground and his health points immediately dropped to 5%. Looking disdainfully at the remaining hooligans, Suyan remarked that judging from Fei's face, he was no longer alive. However, the guy didn't like the fact that this scum's cronies are not in the same condition. Asking the boy not to hit them, the remaining bullies grabbed their brother Fei and ran away. At the same moment, Suyan heard clapping hands behind him. Walking up to the guy, the tower guide, she noticed that he was quite strong. The girl immediately asked the guest if he had any questions, to which the boy replied that he wanted to go into the portal. Asking the guest to follow her, the tower guide noticed that although this guy looked like a beginner, but his aura was that of a former level 20 professional. Maybe the power was inherited. Even so, the girl had never seen anything like it before. Walking a little further down the corridor, the guide tower showed the guy a statue of displacement. The sculpture itself determines the occupation and level of the owner, and then issues a task. The tasks are divided into 4 levels. Before Suyan starts the process, the tower guide decided to give him a little advice. Based on the guy's characteristics, he'd better take a 3-star assignment. Approaching the statue of displacement, the boy wondered why not 4 stars. The girl in turn awkwardly explained that a 4-star assignment for a guy would be too difficult. The guy didn't want to say it, but the warrior profession is relatively weak, and the task requires him to do it alone. By choosing a 4-star difficulty, Suyan risked dooming himself to failure. "That's it," said the boy, putting his hand on the statue. At that very moment, the handover process began. But looking at the list of tasks, Suyan saw a 5-star difficulty, which the guide was silent about for some reason. To complete this task, you need to kill 100 ordinary wild wolves, 10 elite bloodthirsty wolves, and 1 boss, the Wolf King. As a reward, all profession bonuses will be given, as well as some temple privileges. Looking at the girl perplexed, Suyan asked where the 5-star assignment came from and what privileges were. The tower guide said that the 5-star assignment does exist, but it is extremely difficult. For a year, no one in the whole country has ever dared to take it on. The girl doesn't know what privileges are involved. Only the abbot knows about it. The guide had to keep silent about the task, for which she apologized. The thing is that in the current times, the strength of a country is determined by the strength of its people. In order to allow potential professionals to retain level 20, the tower guides prevent the wrong choice of assignment. The country and the temple need as many high-level professionals as possible. As Sujan expected, the complexity of the 5-star task is off the charts. You have to kill not only a lot of monsters, but also hunt the boss alone. You have no one to help you, and you can't use your equipment. Without the help of the almighty forces, the guy will be doomed to failure. However, 100 points is 100 points. And that temple privilege could be an interesting thing too. When she noticed that the guest was thinking hard, the tower guide asked him what he had in mind. Of course, a 4-star assignment looked attractive, but the girl still thought that a 3-star assignment would be more suitable for a boy's profession. In response, the guy thanked the guide for her help, to which the girl said it is her job. Sujan chose a 5-star assignment. Upon hearing this message, the girl panicked and asked the guy why he had taken this assignment. The boy in turn explained that he felt it suited him best. And when the dumbfounded tower guide warned the guy that he would lose, Sujan asked her not to worry. He promised to come back before time ran out. Besides, the boy is eager to learn more about the privilege. Realizing how this could end, the tower guide decided that she needed to report to the abbot immediately. A few minutes later, the teleportation center. Due to the fluctuation in energy, the gates of the center will be opened a few minutes late. All the people gathered were asked to remain calm. After looking around, Suyan said that he hadn't expected this. However, he was in no hurry to get anywhere, so he could spend this time learning how to navigate the lunar jungle. At the same moment, the clatter of a woman's heels was heard nearby. Heading towards the teleport, Shu Yan, a B-class mage from the Ghost Rain Guild, explained to Xiao Qian that this kind of thing happens in small towns. Even with teleportation, there are delays. Following her sister, Xiao Qian noticed a familiar guy standing in line. Hearing her call him by name, the red-haired woman ran up to her friend and asked if she knew this boy. Embarrassed, Xiao Qian explained that she and Su Yan were classmates, and both of them had gotten their professions yesterday. Shu Yan then remarked that it was strange that a newcomer was heading to a portal in the lunar jungle that was literally swarming with level 20 monsters. And when the frightened Xiao Qian shouted that this guy must have headed there by mistake, she noticed that Su Yan had already entered the portal. A few seconds later, the boy found himself in the lunar jungle. The recommended player level in this location is from 20th to 30th. Looking around, the guy noticed that there weren't any players around. Surely everyone was hunting monsters right now. If that was the case, he should get started. Hearing the wolf attacking from behind, Suyin dodged the attack like nothing happened. Looking at the monster, the boy realized that it was very dangerous to fight such creatures without equipment, counting only on himself. Luckily, the guy has some really nice gear. During the wolf's next attack, Suyin snatched out a giant platinum-level flaming sword. This boy is still too low-level to use such a blade. However, the guy has a broken limitless gem that was dropped by spirit hunters. He's incredibly lucky to possess such a thing. Unfortunately, Suyin accidentally broke a bunch of gems while drilling. Therefore, although he had sold as much as $1 billion worth of mining, he now only had a little over 60 million left. But so far, the guy still hasn't sold the Call of the Storm bow. Therefore, the expense doesn't matter. Perhaps when he returns from the lunar jungle, Zhao Ming himself will buy this weapon from him. After using the silver-level Super Shield disposable scroll, Suyin realized that low-level monsters also have low intelligence. They don't give up even when their loss becomes obvious. After dispelling the Super Shield, the boy incinerated all the opponents with a single swing of his flaming sword. He was very lucky that the Azure Wolves had come on their own, as it would have been difficult for him to search for them on his own. But so far, he had only killed 15 monsters out of 100. Taking a monster summoning stone that had fallen from the body of one of the enemies, Suyin threw it away, summoning monsters of different classes. Already after 5 minutes, several level 19 Azure Wolves approached him. In order to take out all the enemies at once, the guy decided to use a level 70th one-time scroll, Baptism of Flame. This scroll creates a firestorm, killing all enemies in the area of use. Moreover, the boy used an intermediate potion that adds 150 spirit points for the next 2 hours. Although Su Yan had killed quite a large number of monsters by using the scroll, there were still too many wolves. It felt like the boy had summoned everyone in this forest. There were a little over 100 of them here. In that case, there was nothing left for the guy to do but to hit with quantity too. Walking through the forest, the other players couldn't understand why there was no one around. Normally, this place would be full of monsters. But at the same time, in the 2 kilometers that these people had been wandering around, they hadn't met a single enemy. Agreeing with his comrade that it was very strange, the yellow-haired adventurer said that the monster he met didn't even look at him. That thing immediately ran away in another direction. It's really strange since the monsters here are quite aggressive. So why did this wolf run away? Turning around on his comrades, the man in iron shoulder pads shouted that he realized what was wrong. Someone had used a monster summoning stone. That's just not fair. How could anyone be so greedy? The man in the shoulder pads asked the boys to follow him. It was disrespectful to their brothers and sisters to use a stone that summoned monsters in such an area. But just as the squad headed deeper into the forest, there was a fiery explosion in the trees, rising into the sky in a huge column of flame. Looking at this horrifying sight, the yellow-haired guy asked his companions if a level 3 mage was capable of such a thing. Realizing that they wouldn't be able to take the loot away from this dude, the squad of players suddenly decided that they needed to get home right away. Meanwhile, Suyin had already finished dealing with the main job. He had finished off 100 Azure Wolves, 100 Rabid Wolves. Now only the boss was left. The guy hadn't really expected this mission to be so easy. Although, come to think of it, he cheated a little. The habitat of the Moon Jungle boss, the Alpha Wolf. The location clearing mission is suitable for a team of 3 or more players. Recommended level, 20. Peeking out from behind the rock, the 22nd level mage asked his comrades if they were ready for the mission. Smiling, the 21st level bald protector asked Zhang not to worry. He had just recently bought a strength potion, and so he would last much longer. Tensely looking at the cave, Zhao Wu reminded him that he had only recently learned the profession of archery and hadn't tried out the skills yet. So he doesn't know how strong he is now at the 21st level. Looking at Li San's bald head, Zhang explained that something very cool would probably fall off the Alpha Wolf. He would be able to replenish his stock of silver equipment and use it until the 40th level. Right now, the plan is for the defender to go first, and the rest of us here to cover his pack. While the mage discussed the plan with the protector, the archer asked them to be quiet. Someone also approached the boss's cave. Watching some guy walking with a sword on his shoulder, Li San shouted that if they didn't stop him, then he would take everything. Asking his friend to wait for a while, Zhang Wu noticed that this dude seemed to be a rookie. Maybe he was just lost. And when the defender asked why they shouldn't help this kid, Zhang slapped him on the bald spot and told him not to be so stupid. This player can serve as bait for them. The boss will be distracted by him, and the squad will take everything quickly in the meantime. Suddenly, while the two were talking amongst themselves, there was some rumbling accompanied by a small earthquake. The Alpha Wolf awoke and left his shelter. The many deaths of the wolves have angered the Alpha Wolf. The boss of the Moon Jungle is in a state of anger. All of this monster's stats have been increased by 30%. Watching this creature, the squad sitting behind the rock couldn't understand what made this monster so angry. In fact, should they still be fighting against it? Realizing that if they continued to sit there, they would get nothing, the mage freaked out and headed for the boss. There was no telling when they would get the next chance to deal with the boss. Therefore, Zhang decided to grab everything in a flash when the boss starts eating that kid. However, from what they saw next, the entire squad of players fell into a stupor. Suyin finished off the Alpha Wolf with just one swing of his flaming sword and gained 30,000 experience. Task progress. 100 Azure and 100 Rabid Wolves have been eliminated. Alpha Wolf of boss level was also killed. The mission is complete. Noticing the items that fell from the slain boss, Zhang was surprised that the items that fell from the Alpha Wolf weren't that cool. They were only good for selling. An Alpha Wolf crystal core containing all of the boss's magic power. This thing can be used to enhance the effect of silver weapons. Totally useless. Noticing the item in Sujan's hand, the mage respectfully greeted the boy and asked him to hand over the crystal core if the boy himself didn't need it so badly. Abruptly turning around, Suyin put the sword blade against the fat man's belly button and reminded him that he was actually going to use him as bait. Then, after crushing the Alpha Wolf's crystal core right in front of his eyes, the guy advised the mage to obtain the item with his own hands if he needed it so badly. Turning around, Suyin waved his hand at the fat man, and Zhang in turn exhaled in relief. The archer couldn't believe he wasn't crazy or dreaming. This can't be happening. This dude knocked out the boss with one punch. Who the hell was he? When the tower guide noticed the boy entering the temple, she noticed that he had returned early. Could it be that he had some questions? However, Suyin said that everything was fine, and he had come to say that he had completed the task. The priestess did not immediately understand what he meant, but when it finally came to her, she was stunned. Looking at the status of the mission, the tower guide remembered that this guy had only gotten the mission this morning. It had only been a few hours. How did he finish it so quickly? It's just not possible. The priestess might have assumed the boy had cheated, but the system showed nothing. So he really did it on his own. While the tower guide was trying to figure out how this could happen, Suyin waved his hand and asked if he could inquire about the privilege now. Coughing, the girl apologized and told the guy to follow her. Fortunately, the priestess has already reported everything to the rector. Now they just have to use this talent for the benefit of the temple. And besides, that boy is so cute. The tower guide would love to have his number. Approaching the statue again, the girl asked Sujin to step forward, explaining that the statue would do everything automatically. As soon as the guy took a step towards the statue, the task check began. In that second, the boy began to be endowed with powerful energy. Class Advancement Aura is a special reward for those who have completed a class advancement task. The color of the aura and bonuses may vary depending on the level of the task. White Aura, a 2% bonus for completing a 1-star task. Green Aura, for completing a 2-star task, 4% bonus. Blue Aura, for completing a 3-star task, 6% bonus. Purple Aura, for completing a 4-star mission, 8% bonus. Finally, an orange aura of the highest level with a 25% bonus. Player Suyin now becomes a warrior mage. After completing a 5-star quest, he receives an orange aura and a 25% bonus. The Mage Warrior is a special class of warrior with unrivaled melee skills, powerful magical strength, and immense physical stamina. Experience gained, 44,600. Increased the player's level from 20th to 34th. Unallocated attribute points, 210. Without thinking too much, Suyin distributed the attribute points of 90 for soul and strength and another 30 for speed. He instantly reached the 34th level, and in addition, he also received an orange aura with bonuses. It wasn't what he expected. It was even better. Moreover, the boy had obtained a warrior mage spellbook. Epic level magic spell Blade converts magic into a weapon, dealing full magic damage. The damage of such a weapon grows in direct proportion to the soul stats. This skill is incredible. Now Sujin can create any weapon with the power of thought, and such a lot, where it will come in handy. The most important thing is that this skill can also be pumped up, just like the family heirloom weapon, which nothing will overshadow. It was worth it to take a 5-star assignment. From now on, Sujin would only take these. The tower guide congratulated the player on completing the 5-star task. His name will now be permanently engraved on the walls of the temple, and he will be a special guest. And when the boy turned around and asked what his privileges were, a woman appeared nearby and said she would tell him about the privileges of special guests. This woman's name is Bai Ling, and she is the abbot of this temple. Upon seeing the abbot, the tower guide thanked her for honoring them with her presence. After letting the priestess go, Bai Ling explained that she wanted to escort such an important guest herself. Su Yang himself was surprised that someone of such high rank as the abbot would choose to meet him face to face. After saying that she understood, the tower guide left. However, in her heart, she wished she had taken a number from the handsome man. Approaching Sujan, the abbot of the temple extended her hand to him and, explaining that it was rather uncomfortable to talk here, suggested that we continue the conversation in the room for special guests. Agreeing, the guy shook Bai Ling's hand. At the same moment, the teleportation process began. Suyin immediately guessed that it was spatial transference. The abbot is so powerful. It's not for nothing that they say the Temple of Promotion class is inconceivably powerful. After finding herself together with the boy in the meeting room, Bai Ling explained that she wasn't that powerful. The woman had merely redirected the statue's energy. Suyan himself, on the other hand, was indeed powerful in her opinion. In the past 10 years, no one had been able to complete a 5-star task. Such a statement surprised the guy a lot. Since this is the first time in 10 years, it turns out that the level of difficulty of the task is higher than he expected. With a wave of her hand, the abbess explained that under the rules of the temple, the boy had access to a monthly allowance of 10 million and a store discount of 80%. The privileges are really good, and were clearly worth the effort Sujan put in for all of this. The allowance and discount are automatically connected to Sujan's identity. He doesn't even need to confirm anything. On top of that, the guy can also join a level A guild. Of course, it's not mandatory, but by joining a guild, he can get not only additional experience and reinforcements, but also solid protection from his team. The boy himself realizes that loners are easy prey, especially for someone who leveled up easily and quickly like Sujan. His normal strength is enough to defeat players of his level, but someone of a higher level poses a threat to the boy. In such a situation, protection from the guild wouldn't hurt, especially since it won't interfere with Sujan's plans. Joining the guild is only the first step in becoming the king of an entire region. After thinking about all of this, the guy inquired about which guild he could choose. Then, the abbot told him that there were currently 2 A-level guilds. Given the circumstances, Bai Ling thought that the most suitable guild for this boy would be the Spirit Hunters Guild. Remembering what he had recently done to those guys, Suyin awkwardly scratched the back of his head and asked the abbot if he had another option. Bai Ling then revealed that there was a guild called Phantom Cloud, the main competitor of the Spirit Hunters. They are relatively strong, but just a little bit short. Without a second's hesitation, Suyin said that he wanted to join the Phantom Cloud. As she began to arrange a Phantom Cloud membership for this guy, the dumbfounded Bai Ling decided to tell the player something before doing so. The Phantom Cloud Guild is made up of only women. Qianlin City Phantom Cloud Guild. Sitting in a hanging chair and reading a book, the dark-haired girl said unhappily that she was bored. There was nothing to do here at all. Her name is Lin Yu, and she is the one who is one of the leaders of the Phantom Cloud. Level 85. Sipping tea at the table across the table, the girl's partner said that it was her own fault for just sitting here, parasitizing and doing nothing. She has the nerve to complain about it when she does nothing for the guild. Lin Yun was another one of the leaders of the 99th level Phantom Cloud. At the same moment, the front door swung open, and Xu Yan entered the room, asked her friends to meet the new girl. Peeking out from behind the red-haired woman's back, Xiao Qian said hello to the others. After introducing herself to the esteemed leaders of the Phantom Cloud Guild, the girl revealed that she was an ice expert. Hearing this, Lin Yu remarked that an ice expert was exactly what they could use. And by the way, the new girl is cute, so she would be welcome in the guild. While they were chatting, Lin Yun's surprised shout was heard. When Lin Yu ran up to her sister and asked what had happened, the girl told her that a guy had joined their guild. The whole guild is in shock. Everyone is now discussing his sudden arrival. On the one hand, this might seem like some kind of mistake, since Phantom Cloud had a strict restriction on men. However, this guy joined the guild through the temple. He had completed the 5-star task and was now considered a special guest, allowing him to choose any guild. Therefore, the leader can't reject his application. Hearing what Lin Yun said, Xiao Qian couldn't believe that someone had finally completed this crazy 5-star task. But why didn't he choose the spirit hunters? But the guild leader has no idea what's in that boy's head. Either way, she'll have to face this Sujin. Noticing the strange expression on Xiao Qian's face, Ling Yun wondered if the new girl knew this guy. Then, the blonde-haired girl revealed that she had a friend named Suyan, but he had only awakened yesterday, just like herself. That boy should also be on the first level, so it's probably just a namesake. Right during this discussion, another guild member ran into the office and reported that the rumors had been confirmed. The spirit hunters had been defeated in the Black Dragon dungeon. This woman's name is Mujun Shui, and she has already reached the 95th level. She didn't know what the spirit hunters' plan was, but it had clearly failed. Sitting on the chair, Ling Yun observed that if the spirit hunters had been defeated, then Phantom Cloud needed to be especially careful when choosing a strategy to raid the giant forest. Incidentally, Muyun Shui had found out that something had happened to Zhao Ming's weapon. The girl was at the auction house and noticed that the Call of Storms appeared to be up for auction. It turns out that there's only one bidder in the entire Tianling, and he's most likely from the spirit hunters. So, Mujun Shui had purposely raised the price so high that the spirit hunters had to spend a lot. At the same time, Storm Archer Zhao Ming sneered somewhere in the city. From now on, the Black Dragon is his sworn enemy. Not only did the man lose his Call of Storms bow because of this animal, but someone had also raised the price of the weapon at the auction. Feeling pale, Lei Shan said that the seller of this bow was unable to contact through private messages. 14 billion was a serious amount of money for the Spirit Hunter Guild. This price must have been set on purpose because of the rumors about Zhao Ming's weapon. Kicking the Storm Archer on the arse with a U-turn, the angry commander-in-chief shouted at him to stop walking so slowly and step normally. Well, the Spirit Hunters have all their weapons back, so it's time for them to get back to work. But first, they need the Sky Pavilion. Sitting at the head of the table, the leader of the 110th level Heavenly Pavilion Strategic Group, Zhao Tai, couldn't believe that tactics had failed. Heavenly Pavilion had personally mopped up the Black Dragon Fortress as many as 5 times and strategized on that basis. Every step had been discussed. There could be no mistakes. Maybe it was the Spirit Hunters who just didn't stick to the set plan. Hitting the table in anger, Lei Shan shouted that they had acted according to the strategy. Clearly followed the plan, but the Black Dragon's behavior was not at all as described. The commander-in-chief of the Spirit Hunters in no way questioned Heavenly Pavilion's professionalism, but he was willing to swear that he was telling the truth. He would never sacrifice his fellow soldiers just to set up a setup. This person's name is Liu Qi. He has reached the 103rd level and is a 5-star shadow assassin. Flipping the knife, he called everyone here idiots. Did they really strategize so carefully to be taken out by some 99-level creep? What's more, now they were sitting around blaming each other like cowards. Looking at the shadow assassin, Lei Shan warned him to watch his words. With a smirk, Liu Qi asked what he said wrong. The scheme is simple. Train a little better so that you don't lose, and if you do lose, be able to accept it with dignity. Telling Liu Qi to bite his tongue, Zhao Tai stood up from the table and explained that the Heavenly Pavilion had always placed great importance on accuracy and would never sell false information. Therefore, he would personally make sure that the research team went through the steps of the Black Dragon Fortress. If there are indeed mistakes in the strategy, then the Heavenly Pavilion will take all the losses incurred by the spirit hunters. But if the strategy is correct, then it only means that the squad leader, Lei Shan, made a mistake, and it's not the strategy team's fault. In addition to the head of the Heavenly Pavilion, the research team would include 3 other people. A 5-star healer of 108th level, Zhang Kexin, a 5-star defender of 104th level, Zhuang Zhen, and Liu Qi. Suddenly, a terrifying green aura appeared right in the middle of the negotiation hall. Upon noticing the strange man, the entire top brass of the spirit hunters went on alert. Asking in Commander-in-Chief Lei Shan to calm down, Zhao Tai explained that it was Mr. Chen Lun from the Heavenly Pavilion headquarters. Chen Lun, a 5-star necromancer of the 115th level of the Heavenly Pavilion Guild. Upon seeing Zhao Tai, the man asked why he hadn't put him on notice that he was going to go to the Black Dragon Fortress. After apologizing to the master, Zhao Tai said that only his research team would go there. That was why he didn't want to disturb the necromancer. Licking his lips eerily, Chen Lun insisted on going to the Black Dragon's lair tomorrow as well. In that dungeon, there would obviously be many delicious souls that would only make the necromancer stronger. And the Black Dragon itself would also belong to Chen Lun. 5-star professionals and an expert from the Celestial Pavilion headquarters. With a team like this, going to the dungeon is no big deal. Lei Shan won't mind if they kill the Black Dragon. But if the Celestial Pavilion squad dies, then so be it for them. Good strategy or bad strategy, they must pay for their mistakes. Soon night fell. Lying on the bed, Suyin noticed that being in a purely female guild was very cool. The chat doesn't stop talking, and all the conversations are only about the newcomer. Luckily, the guy had thought to put it on mute, or else he would have just gone crazy. At the same time, the boy received a message that someone was interested in the Call of Storm's bow. After opening the lot, Suyin noticed that his auction had turned into a real race. A certain user with the nickname Humble Elf had set the original price at 500 million. Then, a person with the nickname Ice Witch bid just 1 yuan more. And so, Humble Elf began to raise the price significantly, while Ice Witch added 1 yuan to his price each time. Eventually, the price reached 14 billion, and Suyin was able to sell the bow. Thanks to the Ice Witch, he was able to make a fortune in one auction. During the transaction confirmation, the system discovered that the owner of the bow was an outstanding member of the Alliance, for which the guy also received a bonus of 5% of the auction price. As a result, he got another 1 billion yuan on top of that. After realizing the pleasure of being an outstanding member of the Alliance, Suyin decided to rest for a while and look for an assignment tomorrow. This feeling of power is intoxicating. After such bliss, no one would want to tediously kill monsters one by one. It was 7 o'clock in the morning. The alarm clock went off in the guy's room. Well, that was it. The break was over. As soon as the boy got out of bed, the system announced that the 5 members of the guild's Level A research team had gone to the dungeon. Looking at the system window, Suyin noticed the emblem of a famous research group. They're known as dungeon killers because they've gone through an odd number of dungeons and make tactics based on them. There's also a bunch of 5-star professionals above the 100th level. Apparently, this sudden visit has something to do with the spirit hunters. Be that as it may, Sujin doesn't care what their intentions are. If they only took 6, they must be very confident. Of course, as soon as the system suggested it, the guy immediately established a connection with the dragon's body. It was time to start a new task.
Pet the cat.